Hello everyone, Veronica Rodriguez back here again, along with my classmate Chris. We're going to talk to you guys about the International Business Machines Corporation developerWorks as part of our case study for this week. So let's get started. Let's start with a little bit of background. So what is developerWorks? They're a web-based network which serves as a global community of coders. And they're dedicated to empowering developers around the globe to create exciting and groundbreaking programs. They launched in 1999 for developer community to provide free technology and product-related resources. Like I mentioned, they're web-based and a professional network and technical resource center. It operates much like an online community forum with more than 40 core technology topics. It aids technical users to develop code skills, solve problems, collaborate with others, and learn about current trends. It also provides an open peer-to-peer network regardless of affiliation with IBM, and they currently have 1 million registered members as it attracts to 5 million people per month from almost 200 countries. Okay. So why developers flock to developerWorks? So they provide an open source of code standards, resources, and architecture best practices. They also have a majority of technical documentation that is brand agnostic, which means that they don't favor one brand over the other. Developers often granted early access to new IBM tools on software. They also have access to free articles, expert advice, and development guidance. Free value-add service that focuses on brand reputation and trust, and they have a 24/7 wiki-based architecture and knowledge-based. And right here we have a quote from the IBM editor-in-chief, Michael O'Connell, that goes as follows. IBM, in contrast, embraces with developerWorks an open, cross-platform, standards-based focus, which means our content is broadly relevant, even to developers who are not interested in IBM and products and services.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Reed, and I'm going to walk you through how IBM leverages work design change with the developerWorks platform. So one of the things that we learned from Chapter 3 in the text is how information technology changes the way that people work. And one of the ways that the developerWorks platform is doing this is by enabling new ways to work through many different factors with the developerWorks ecosystem, but we've highlighted some of the most important here. And one of those is through the creation of virtual teams. As we've learned also from the text, that one of the keys to success for companies in technology is further reach through various collaboration tools. And the creation of virtual teams allows IBM developerWorks to expand knowledge share via wide membership. One of the interesting things is about the developerWorks platform is that the community receives around 5 million visits per month. And out of those 5 million visits, approximately 1 million of those visitors are part of the ecosystem membership. Another thing that IBM developerWorks does well is it provides access to this concept of bleeding edge technology. And if you're not familiar with bleeding edge technology, in essence, what this is technology that's so new that even the general public really hasn't had a chance to use it yet. The other thing, as you may know, that IBM developerWorks provides access to is open source code, which it updates continuously. On top of that, IBM stays on top of best practices, not only for IBM software and services, but also other brand agnostic platforms, such as Microsoft and Salesforce, which we'll talk a little bit about in the next few slides. Another aspect of the ecosystem which is very popular and important is it provides seamless global access to its community. So What this does is help IBM provide real-time information across more than 40 technical topics, such as blockchain, analytics, artificial intelligence, IT governance, which is very important for companies, continuous integration, DevOps, and even API management. And those are just to name a few. And one of the most important aspects of the ecosystem is that it's a 24/7 access to technology experts and influencers. And these, again, this global access expands across more than 100 countries. And some of those countries include, of course, the U.S., Japan, Russia, Vietnam, Brazil, and many others. So next I want to walk you through the work design framework and how developerWorks leverages changes in the way that people work. Again, just to reiterate the importance of information technology and how it's changing the way that people work, we know that collaboration in today's technology world is super important. And the developerWorks platform is really one that enables teams that are not co-located or distributed across various locations the ability to work together. And what they've really done with this platform is created a social networking like platform that has different community forums, microblogs, provides the ability for users to do some professional networking. And the other thing it does is it provides a wiki type of knowledge platform. So if you think of Wikipedia, for example, IBM developerWorks has created its own sort of wiki knowledge platform inside of the developerWorks platform, which allows for collaboration and knowledge sharing with users. And one of the other things that we learned about in Chapter 2 of the text was how important it is for companies to look at strategic partnerships. And IBM developerWorks did this with Salesforce in 2018. IBM did this as a whole, but provided access to this partnership and knowledge share with Salesforce in 2018. And what these type of strategic partnerships do is it provides a expanded knowledge base and credibility to IBM for its users and members. Because of this partnership, IBM named Salesforce the CRM Partner of the Year in 2018, and it is Salesforce is considered a preferred cloud partner with IBM. One of the other things that we learned about in Chapter 2 was also this concept of co-opetition. And again, IBM saw the value in what was normally a competitor and a rival in Microsoft, and decided that it was in their best interest, and Microsoft did the same, to find a win-win solution for both technology providers instead of what's traditionally known as a zero-sum game in technology. So that concept, at least as far as IBM is concerned, is sort of dead. Like IBM realized that they needed to find some sort of partnership with a competitor in Microsoft and team up with them to provide its user base solutions that both would find valuable. And the last one we touched on as well is the RBV, or the resource-based view. And what IBM has done with the developerWorks platform is really leveraged developerWorks as not only a way to provide information, academia, open source code, and all of these valuable tools and resources to a large community, but they've also used the tool as a way to sort of lure and retain top talent. So this has become a super valuable tool for IBM as well when you look at the resource-based view to really build their talent base.
Okay, so now let's talk about the organizational platform and some of the benefits and challenges that they face. Let's start off with benefits. It allows companies to answer questions and maintain a forum for other customers to research improving customer satisfaction. So I guess this really comes very handy to the public. And any questions that they might have, they can get the opinions of others and have a more quality work. Then fundamental change in where, how, and even when work is accomplished, increases productivity via ideas and feedback in real time. It also helps employees feel that their contribution to the business is valued, and increased employee retention because they feel more valued and aligned to the business and its goals. Okay, so now some of the challenges are no real connection, strictly business savvy. So there's no personal relationships. You only stick to a business relationship. Interfere with personal time since everything is at your fingertips. For my competitive individuals, always working to get project completed in a timely manner. And not only that, project that is also very high quality. Language barrier. Miscommunication can create tension, and that's very common. And physical absence from corporate offices also has more long-term implications from an individual development opportunities and advancement. Okay, so now let's talk about the individual platform, some of the pros and cons. For pros, 1, it allows mobile flexibility. 2, greater job satisfaction and value with access to technology resources. 3, more time spent on valuable work. 4, ability to keep in touch with like-minded professionals. 5, network in a peer-to-peer platform with technology individuals, and enhance activity streams inside forums to follow discussions. And now we're moving on to the cons, which is 1, having to deal with the negative workplace behavior, and that's in any workplace. You're always going to have to deal with those little hiccups or anything that just can be negative and tense. So that's just something that's common everywhere. Time management, being aware of the different time differences in zones. So I guess that's something that can be a little challenging at first, but with time, you get accustomed to it and it shouldn't be a problem. Then the less to no face-to-face interaction or meetings since everything is all virtual. And lastly, which is probably one of the hardest, having to rely mainly on internet and Wi-Fi.
All right, thank you, Veronica, for taking us through the pros and the cons of the IBM developerWorks platform. And now I want to walk everyone through the technology acceptance model as it pertains to developerWorks. As we looked at in Chapter 3, one of the most important things that a company has to look at is the unintended or negative consequences of implementing a change in a company. And with the developerWorks platform in this use case, we could really also look at the users as a whole, not just internal employees to IBM. So as we look at this model, it's really pretty simple. But what our team wanted to do was add some actual use case inputs into the model. So as we look at the model, the individual differences is one of the factors that goes into the perceived ease of use or perceived usefulness. So as we look at the scale, the bottom half of the scale would indicate that the perceived ease of use is not very high, but as we move up, the perceived usefulness increases as well. So one of the inputs to this for IBM developerWorks is that it's on the individual differences, which of course pertains to the age and gender, that the acceptance is from a wide demographic globally. So there's many different countries, ages, genders. It's a wide range of folks that tap into the developerWorks ecosystem. So from that perspective alone, there's a large perceived usefulness in the ecosystem. And then we look at the system characteristics. Well, there's a very high relevance for this platform. There's community facilitated learning. There's a massive degree of technology and source code and learnings that come from the platform. And then, of course, networking as well. And then as we move down the scale to social influence, there's a high degree of influence from the social perspective as well. And, here we're not necessarily talking about social media. We could be, but we're more looking at how it allows the users to connect, communicate, and collaborate. So there's a very high degree of influence from the social perspective as well. And then the last factor that we looked at is the facilitating conditions. So as we know from studying about the developerWorks platform, there's careful monitoring of all the systems and applications that the ecosystem uses. And so when we take all of these different factors into consideration and use these as inputs into the technology acceptance model, we conclude that there's a very high perceived usefulness for the developerWorks platform. So next we'll take a look at the conclusion. And one of the most important things that the IBM developerWorks platform does is help users keep up with technology, innovation, and stay relevant. And that's always a difficult challenge for businesses, but the developerWorks platform has done an excellent job of keeping up with the technology through various collaboration tools. IBM developerWorks is a system that allows flexibility and new features to be integrated with virtual teams, and this allows for a high degree of acceptance. IBM also created a community that championed change, innovation, and collaboration with its end users. And IBM, out of this IBM developerWorks platform, IBM created what it calls an IBM Champions program that recognizes the top developers, technologists, business leaders, and educators around the world, which was born, of course, from the developerWorks community. And last, IBM's online developerWorks community has changed community collaboration by creating a new type of informal social network for both employees, non-employees, and technology experts to interact. It's also allowed for a networked organizational structure that has allowed for decentralized decision making. So in other words, IBM employees are able to use this tool as well to make decisions about their daily work, and that's created an atmosphere for its employees where decentralized decisions can be made without a lot of middle management or higher level management interaction. Next, IBM has integrated continuous improvements, measurement, and performance of the platform. And last and most important, IBM has put culture first above everything else. So if we look at the last slide, what we talk about when we're talking about culture is this quote from the IBM website that says that we're passionate about helping other enterprises create, adopt, and scale open source in their own companies. When becoming an open source enterprise, you need to consider scale, open governance, and culture. And these are three of the access points into the community. So if you're interested in code, you can click on this module and you'll be taken into a community where you can learn about code from experts, content. There's a ton of additional content from videos and developer stories and anything that someone who might need to find relevant content could find in this module And then last, as we've already discussed, IBM developerWorks has really created this concept of community where others are able to meet people who are actually creating the code, creating the new technologies, and people that can help other programmers with questions that they may have, and even just meet new and interesting people and discover new things that are happening in the technology community. And this concludes our presentation. We hope you'd enjoyed it, and we look forward to your feedback. Thank you very much.